And joining us this morning from Habitat for Humanity of Newcastle County is Kevin Smith, the Executive Director. He joins us live in studio here at WDEL. Kevin, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thanks, Spencer. Thanks for having me.
We appreciate it. So there's kind of a confusion because there's Habitat for Humanity, but there's also this Restore that you guys have. First, I want to talk a little bit about Habitat for Humanity. What do you guys do for someone that doesn't know?
Yeah, we work with low-income families who can't afford or can't qualify for a conventional mortgage. They apply to our program. We work with people from the community, volunteers, organizations, churches, and faith groups, and really work in partnership with this family. What we believe the working poor need is capital. They don't need people to feel sorry for them. They need people to bring resources to the table and help them build their own houses. So families who qualify and who are selected get to work on their own house. They actually put in 225 hours of sweat equity, working alongside the volunteers from the community. And then when all's said and done and the house is built and completed, we sell the house to the family at our cost and zero interest. So we're actually lending them the money, and then they're paying Habitat back over 20 to 35 years.
So basically their mortgage is what you guys put out there.
That's correct.
For them to repay.
Right. And then those payments we take and put right back into building more houses. So our focus is getting people out of substandard housing and also changing neighborhoods. So we're working in particular neighborhoods around Newcastle County, taking out blighted properties, demolishing them, building new houses, creating more home ownership.
So the word that's been thrown around Delaware, blight areas, I guess you could say?
That's correct.
Okay, so when you have a family that comes in that wants to know how to be qualified for that, because I would be sure that it's not a general idea of how you know if you qualify for Habitat for Humanity. What's the process that goes into that?
We hold somewhere around 10 to 12 orientation meetings a year at different sites, and that's where people come to really hear the program in depth, to get our application, to fill that out within a month and get that back to us. But basically you're talking about, on average, people who make anywhere from $25,000 upwards of $50,000 a year. I think sometimes
that's joint income or just solo, or sometimes just together.
That's the household income.
Okay.
I think sometimes people think that they make too much money, and in fact, people who are making $40,000-$50,000, depending on their household size, would qualify for Habitat, and especially now with the way conventional financing has got so tight that they ought to consider Habitat. But we're looking for people, again, who can't qualify for a mortgage any other means, particularly who might have a housing issue like overcrowding or structural problems. And then we will qualify them through the application process.
How long has Habitat for Humanity been in Newcastle County?
We have been here 23 years. And, started out very modestly, building one house at a time. And now we're upwards building 20 to 21 houses a year.
That's pretty impressive.
It takes a lot of hard work, but
it really does.
It's going really well.
All right, so 21 houses a year, and you guys, and you said that you're looking for areas that have otherwise kind of been mistreated or just aren't necessarily, what somebody would consider a great place to live. How does that work with you guys and with the city? Are you able to go in the county? Are you able to go in and just say, look, we want to put a house here? Or does the city and the county have areas that are designated solely upon what you guys are able to do?
Well, the city will have some areas that they designate as areas that they want revitalized. But most of what we're doing is being opportunistic and seeing opportunities to buy land or buy property, obviously at the cheapest price we can.
Sure.
And to do it in such a way that we're getting as many properties in a particular neighborhood as possible. We don't want to go in and build one or two in a neighborhood and that be our only impact. We want to be there several years, invest, and many times we're the only ones building in some of these neighborhoods because they're so depressed. But to build enough momentum and investment in there that then other investors, other nonprofits, maybe even market housing would come on the tail end of what we've done.
So it's enough to change the overall aspect of the area that you're working in.
That's correct.
All right. Well, with an opportunity like Habitat for Humanity, I'm sure there are a lot of people, and I've heard of Habitat for Humanity on a national scale, so it's good to know that it's happening here in Newcastle County. But the opportunities of Habitat for Humanity actually go further than just the homes. You guys have a restore.
Yes, restore is a trend with Habitat across the country. What it is has been born out of this opportunity that's come to us where generally people have always thought of Habitat as the place to donate construction materials. And, in our early years, we've tried to use some of those materials in our house building. Mm-hmm. But more of late, as we've gotten larger and we're building new houses, a lot of things people want to donate to us, used items we can't use in our homes. So what we did was we started a store where we take in all these donated construction materials, household furnishings, and then we resell it back to the public at a deep discount. And the proceeds we get from those sales actually go back into our housing program.
Now, when you say that there are items that you can't use, construction material, that might be a little confusing for somebody that's out there knowing that you guys are building homes. What types of materials do you guys typically get?
We get used appliances. We get windows and doors. And in that example, they're not the right size to what we're building in our houses. So that's why we would resell them. Furniture, lots of household items. But anything from toilets and vanities, sinks. Again, they're not kind of our standard size. And it'd be harder for us to kind of retrofit them into our standard houses. So there's an opportunity for us to turn them back into good use and for someone to buy them. So, the goal of the restore is to generate income towards our housing program to provide a service to the community, discounted materials and furnishings, but also we've been saving on average about 50 tons of material from going into the landfill.
Now, are most of the materials used materials, or do you get some newer materials that come in?
We get new and used materials. Like the vast majority is probably used, slightly used, gently used, we like to say. Yes. But there's also suppliers in town who, let's say you go somewhere and products got misordered. They're the wrong size. One of our great partners is PJ Fitzpatrick. They will come to us probably once or twice a year, pull up at our warehouse, and give us windows and doors that are brand new that maybe the customer ordered wrong or didn't like when they got to their house. And there's nothing wrong with them.
Sure.
But it's easier for him to donate them to us, and he wants to help us, than for him to try to find somebody who's going to take that size.
Plus, I'm sure it's a tax write-off, too.
That's correct.
So for anybody that brings down items, that's a tax write-off for them?
That's correct.
Okay, so where's the store, and how can people get in touch with you about Restore and about donating if they have items?
The store is located at 320 Cornell Drive, which is right off of Rogers Road. Rogers Road is between Route 13 and Route 9, just south of the city of Wilmington. It's right next to Dunleith.